Hello, I'm Byron Hynes. In this video demonstration, we're going to go ahead and install Openstack. Now, we're not going to just install the Openstack compute node. We're actually going to install an entire working Openstack system. It would be pretty hard to install just one node in a test environment. You might want to break out different nodes, different functions, different computers in production, but for testing and getting used to Openstack, there's really a couple of different approaches you can take. One of which is you can run Openstack against one of the public cloud services. There's a number of public clouds that make Openstack trials available for free, or you may even want to subscribe to one of the Openstack services just to test it out. It all depends on what kind of aspect you want to work on, what your kind of budget is, and whether you're looking at something that's going to be production or whether you're just learning it. The other approach is to use the DevStack implementation of Openstack, and DevStack is the repository that makes Openstack available for running on your own hardware, or at least it's the most common and the most easiest to install. Now, you can actually install Openstack on a computer or server in your data center. You can install it even on a laptop, or you can even install it inside of another virtualized instance. So you could even run Openstack on Openstack if you really wanted to. In this case, I have a Lubuntu variant of Ubuntu that is running 14.04, and on it we are going to install Openstack. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. Now, in production, you would probably want to set up a number of different accounts, have one dedicated just to the Openstack services, those kinds of things. In this case, I'm just going to use the account that I've got set up, which has full access to the system, and it's just going to be a really quite simple thing to do. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we've got Git. This is a very lightweight install of Linux, and you want to have a very lightweight install because you don't want to have a lot of extra stuff there. So we're just going to go ahead and make sure that we've got Git ready to go. So we'll just type in the command to get that. And what's my password? Escalate. There we go. Liked it that time. What did I... Oh, I spelled get wrong. Now that Git has been completed, we can use Git to get DevStack. And so we're just going to do this by cloning into it and getting that distribution right here. So the command for that is Git. And we're going to clone. And we give it the location that we want to clone from. And this will just take a couple moments to pull down all of the objects. There we go. Now, we can now change into the directory that it has stored all these files in. And again, in production, you would probably want to put a little more thought into where these go. And then DevStack ships with a script that essentially does it all for us. Now, it's several hundred lines long. It's not a simple script. And in fact, the documentation suggests that you spend the time that you would be waiting for the install to complete to actually read up on the script, and you can see exactly what it's doing. Now, you can just run the script. Now, the recommendation is usually to go ahead and set up the first initial configuration file with a minimum configuration, but we're going to look at configurations separately. So in this case, we're just going to do the install. Now, you're going to be prompted a few times for a password, and this is the default password that's listed in most of the documentations, and we're going to use it. We're going to make it the same one for all of the options. So you can actually... There we go. You can actually set it up so it uses a different password for each type of node. And that plays into security and division of responsibility and that kind of thing. But it's not necessary for our simple test environment here. Now, this script will actually take about 10 minutes to run. So we're just going to let it sit here and do that. And probably the guys in the back room will do some magic and shorten up some of this so that we're not watching the text just scroll by for 10 minutes straight. And then we'll come back and it will be completed. All right, and now our little install has been completed, and you'll see it took 790 seconds. So you can work that out. That's about, what's that, about 12 minutes or so, 12 or 13 minutes. So that's pretty typical for the install on this kind of hardware. and now it's good to go. That's all it takes. In fact, we can now go over here and launch a web browser. I know many real server people don't have a GUI at all in their machine, but we do. We'll just here we'll go launch a web browser, and we'll enter the address of this machine. And there we go. Our OpenStack dashboard is ready for our login. The default is admin with that password we specified. Whether or not we want to remember the password or not. And here we go. And then we can actually go ahead and do all that we want. We can go into compute, go into instances, pick an image for, let's take the Fedora one. We can say we're going to launch that. And we need to have a little bit bigger. We need to have about a medium for it to work well. And launch it. Oh, didn't give it a name. There we go. It's creating it, kicking it off. Now it's running. And we can actually go in and view the console. And here is our OpenStack based instance based on the OpenStack Fedora image that came with DevStack that's starting up here in our virtualized environment. So that's all it took. It was a simple matter of downloading or cloning into the Git repository and then running a script, and it takes care of the rest. And there we go, ready to log in to our virtualized Fedora instance based on our image running on OpenStack.